Oh god, not another YouTuber holding an inanimate object as a microphone. You're not unique. I thought I'd join in. The hairbrush seemed to fit the mise en scene. Are you someone who doesn't see your friends as often as you think you should be? You might not realize it, but you could be on a steady path to losing your friends and missing out on some of the most incredible opportunities of your life, all because of unconscious behaviors that you might have that hold you back from creating truer and deeper connections. Not only with other people, but with the world around you and with yourself, your spirit. We're always just a couple of changes away from having a happier life, but it's our internal wiring that often keeps us stuck. If you think this could be you, don't worry, same. We're in this together. This is why I created Project Rewire, to prove that you can change your life by changing simple behaviors and thought patterns that are holding you back from your truest potential. And I'm being the guinea pig. So we've been focusing on social habits, friendships, connection, because this is something I suck at. And I also believe that it's the secret sauce to actually getting the most out of life. And if that resonates with you, subscribe, come back and watch the other episodes. I promise there'll be something of value in there for you. So last episode, I posed the question, what if being an introvert is actually harming you? And this did stir up a little bit of controversy, but hold your horses. I am not saying that being an introvert is harmful. There is nothing wrong with being an introvert, but I am exploring the possibility that the label of introvert could have hindered my social growth in my developmental years. And it might have done the same for you, but we're going to discuss that in a bit. The idea of introverted and extroverted personality types has actually been extremely helpful for people in understanding themselves, understanding their social tendencies, why they have different energy levels around people, not around people. And I didn't know that the idea of introvert and extrovert was actually created by psychologist Carl Jung, whose teachings I've been delving into recently because some of his theories and ideas and teachings are just fascinating. He's a very cool guy. And did you know that statistically more people claim to be introverted than extroverted? That's according to a UK study on friendship by YouGov. And I have a theory that being an introvert can actually start to become problematic if you let it limit you. Because we are complex human beings, often when we are labeled as something, we cling to it. We can unknowingly let labels that we identify with start to determine our choices and our behaviors. And this is not true for everyone, but being introverted can definitely be used as an excuse to stay in our comfort zone. We might start to avoid social situations, or not turn up to things, or not reply to our friends for days, or not reach out to people when we need help or when we feel lonely, not make plans to see friends so often. We might stop making the effort to meet new people, or just not want to go up to people and chat to them. And it's okay because I'm an introvert. I just don't do those kind of things. Yes, sometimes it is warranted. We absolutely should be able to say no to things and reserve and recharge our social battery when we need to. We're introverts. That's a healthy thing to do. But there are instances like these that we can actually use as an opportunity to push through our comfort zone. And that is where growth happens. It's not about trying to become an extrovert. It's about building absolute confidence, grit, self-assuredness, and charisma even as an introvert. And this is what helps you build those incredible connections, friendships, relationships, and opportunities that you've always wanted. And you'll also just naturally become more of a badass. Maybe you've been craving deeper connection, but you have to ask yourself this. Are you creating the scenarios for deeper connection to happen? Are you creating the scenarios for deeper connection to happen? I'm not. So anyway, we're changing that. It's a heck of a slow process. I am expecting this process to last years. I've been starting off with very small little changes and challenges and personal goals. So here's a few of them. Call a friend once a week. Plan a university reunion. Break down the habit of I'll message back later. Book flights to visit my friend in Boston. Make an effort to meet new people. And make some thoughtful gestures towards my current friendships. I suck at this. Here is how that's all going. I met a couple recently. It took a lot of courage, but I decided to message her and ask if she wanted to go out. I'm considering whether I message someone I met just once at the social club and ask if they want to go for a drink, but I don't know if I'm confident enough to do that. I don't even know if I have the energy to go out. I'm debating, like, is that something I can do? How do you even go about asking someone for a drink that you've only met once? Do you just say, hey, would you like to go for a drink? Why is this so hard? I'm doing it. I'm sending it. I'm sending it. I sent it. I said, hey, would you like to go for a drink this evening? Thought it'd be nice to get out of the house. Now, she wasn't actually free in the end, but she did say, oh, are you free on Tuesday? So today we are meeting up to go on a walk. So I'm having a little bit of lunch. I'm excited for our walk and get to know some new people.
Sree and Sha. Hello. With my very dangerous road. I'm falling over. We're on the way back now. I'll put that in my vlog.
Do make sure that you're watching my vlog series because I share everything that goes on between these episodes, including getting invited to Sree and Sha's house. They cooked us an amazing dinner. We had such a fun time and we've met up with them a few times since then. You can see a little bit of that in my previous vlogs, so I'm gonna leave them below for you. Also, check out their YouTube channel. They've been vlogging their travels and they've got more videos to come. So because they made us such a lovely dinner, we decided to invite them round to our house and cook dinner for them. This would actually be the first dinner party that we've ever hosted together at our house since living together. I'm gonna tidy up the house, bake a crumble, and then Lewis will be back. He's making marry me chicken. Sree and Sha will be here. I've just got back from the shop. Luckily, there was a charity shop open and they had wine glasses, thank goodness, because we only have 2. And obviously we're having some friends around this evening. I think these are actually more like cocktail glasses for gin, but do you know what? They'll do. I got some special pasta, I got some popcorn.
First guests, and I'm a bit nervous.
Only because you're cooking.
They served us some really nice food when we were out here.
Okay, totally unrelated, but I had to add this in somewhere. A couple months ago, I was in Brighton and you'll never guess who I bumped into.
Oh my god, I just bumped into Unjaded Jade. Can you believe it?
You knew it was going to happen.
I told David, I was like, what if I see Jade? And I fucking saw her and I like told her how much I loved her content. Oh my god, that was so mad. That was wild. I should have got a photo of her, but I didn't. Ah!
I cannot get over the fact that I met Jade today in Brighton. Like, what the actual hell? I haven't been to Brighton in like a year. I went to see my friend, my old flatmate David. As we were walking into Brighton, I was talking to David about Jade, who is a content creator that I watch. I love her videos at the moment. Just such an inspiring YouTuber. And I was just saying, like, I really like her. Like, she lives here. It would be so funny if we bumped into her. We had a wonderful day out in Brighton, and on our way back to the car park, who did I see? I saw Jade, her face, and I was like, oh my god, no. Like, we made eye contact and I was just like, I had to go over and I was like, Jade, oh my god, I watched your videos. And it was amazing. It was so good to like finally meet her, and she was with her girlfriend and it was like so nice to meet her too. I just had this feeling like she could be walking around here and I could see her, and then I saw her. Like, what the hell? So we had a little chat, but I was like so overwhelmed that I kind of was just like blabbering. And then I was like, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to bombard you. Like, obviously I gave her a hug and everything. I felt really bad afterwards because I was like, oh my god, was I just like a lot just then? I hope I wasn't too overwhelming for her, because I was just like, I love you. I've also been continuing to turn up to this social club. I've been going almost every week for about 5 months now. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, it's basically basically a little village social club in our town. We meet up once a week and we basically just do really wholesome activities. Craft night, wine and cheese nights, pottery making nights, pub night, quiz night, tour of the village night, painting and drawing, bee hotel making, plant swapping. We're doing a sunflower competition. It's so wholesome. Someone left such an amazing comment on my last episode. They said that my life was a little bit like Animal Crossing with all the little cute village tasks I've been doing. That's probably one of the best compliments I've ever got. I grew up on Animal Crossing. Like, I played that game so much that I actually can't play it anymore. I spent so many hours of my childhood, of my growing up on that game. I would have dreams about Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing just consumed my life. Going to the social club does kind of feel like I'm in Animal Crossing, but also just seeing familiar faces and getting to be like, hey, how are you doing? And like learning people's names and like what's going on in their lives and seeing them around town and getting to say hello and feeling like I'm part of the community here. Even though I'm only here for a short time, but I wanted to make as much effort as I could to develop some of these social habits while I'm here. Why not work on growth when you're in a situation that you don't want to be in? Do you know what I mean? You know, I'm still kind of unhappy here, but if I had not been going to that, I would be a lot less happy. If you feel like you're lacking in close friendships, that your friendships quite easily become distant, it could be that you don't currently have the friendship habits in place to maintain and strengthen your friendships. At least this is the case for me. All of my friendships currently are distant. I do have friends, but I don't speak to them often, and I'm lucky if I get to see them about once or twice a year. This isn't only because of physical distance. I live quite far away from my friends. Also, all my friends are singular, meaning they're from different periods of my life. They're not one big friend group. But also, I just suck at getting in touch and making plans, getting out of my bubble. So yes, it does take two to tango. It takes two people to keep a connection going. Lives get busy, and I think most people would admit to the fact that they probably don't put as much effort into their friendships as they should be. But I also realized that if you spent most of your teenage years as a bit of a recluse like I did, it could well be that you missed out on developing some of those social skills and friendship maintaining skills. I know that somewhere along the way in my teenage years, my brain got wired to be really comfortable in my own company, because first 2 years of college was so miserable. I gave up making friends and I would disappear off to the computer room and watch YouTube videos in all of my breaks. I was a complete lone wolf. This was during the ages of 16, 17, 18, which are really key years for your cognitive development. So I labeled myself as an introvert, fair enough, but I wrongly assumed that the few friends that I did have would kind of always just be my friends, even though I didn't see them or speak to them very often. Only over the years did I realize you really do have to put effort in. Most of my friends know what I'm like, but some other friendships that I would have liked to keep going have naturally fizzled out through negligence. One of my oldest, dearest friends is having her first baby very soon. It's kind of crazy, but I wanted to just send her something to her house just to let her know that I care. It's a baby guide book. I did some research and apparently this is one of the best ones. So we're going to send that off to her today. I'm just going to write a little note so she knows who it's from. I am so glad I sent my friend and her partner that book. She received it, she sent me a message saying thank you, and she said that it was so weird because she was like, it's like you read my mind. I have been eyeing up that book because the reviews were so good. I can't wait to read it. It feels so good when you get someone something that they actually wanted and you know will be useful. I'm really happy for them, and I'm seeing her really soon actually for her baby shower. Really excited for her. You know that one thing that you've got in your house somewhere that you borrowed from a friend so many years ago, in fact so long ago, that you're actually no longer friends with that person anymore? Maybe they're not in your life anymore, or you've just naturally grown apart. Can't bring yourself to get rid of it because it's not yours. I borrowed these gorgeous vintage sunglasses from my childhood best friend when we were about 13 maybe 16 years ago. Wow. Okay, I think they were actually her nans, and I always felt so bad that I never got round to giving them back, but I kept them in a special box with all my childhood memorabilia in the off chance that I'd eventually give them back to her. She ended up moving to a different school when we were about 14. Unfortunately, our friendship grew apart, which was such a shame because I was absolutely heartbroken. She was one of the best friends I ever had. She had the ability to make me laugh. I would literally wet myself from laughing, and I just loved her immensely. But I think that around the age of 14 was when my poor social habits started to form. I didn't make the effort to meet up with her after she left, but I don't know why. I was so distraught and so heartbroken that it's almost like I manifested the end of the friendship. Maybe I didn't have the confidence to contact her, or I just didn't know how to stay in touch. All throughout 14, 15 and 16, I really struggled socially, went down a sort of social anxiety route, and unfortunately that friendship, it ended. But I still have her sunglasses. I've had them to one side for about a year. The other morning, I looked at them for the last time and I was like, I should really ask her her address soon so I can post those back to her. This is the same thought I have all the time, and I stopped myself and I was like, Isabella, are you actually ever going to do that? The only time that you are ever going to do that is right now. You have to do it right now. I pushed through that resistance. I picked up my phone, disabled my Opal app so that I could access Instagram. I found her Instagram account and I messaged her. I'm glad that she'll finally be reunited with her sunglasses. I'm gonna write a little note to her. I've just wrapped them up all cute in some little packaging. And there's the letter. I've packed it in here with a plastic bag so that it will not get damaged. And I'm going to send it off today. I read a statistic the other day that most of the friendships that we have currently and the social circles that we have currently dissolve in about 7 years. Some friendships naturally kind of end, and it's okay because not all people are meant to be in our lives forever. People change, people have different life paths. That is part of life. We're not meant to go through life with the same group of people around us. And although I've always envied people who've had the same friendship group from like school, like I envy that so much because I unfortunately never had that. There are so many people out there that I still am yet to meet. I just have to remain open and not close off, because what happened when I was 14, I was left with just literally one friend. Luckily, who I'm still friends with today. I think I almost manifested my own reality by closing myself off and being sad, believing that no one wanted to be friends with me, but really I was just hurting and I was just feeling misunderstood. I'm just writing this and it's kind of just like taking me back to all the feelings I had back when I was younger and struggling. I was a kid. Kids have to go through that process to understand how things work, and I think I had to go through that in order to understand how to make friends in the future. Anyway. I got a letter back in response. Oh my god, there's a photo in here. Oh my god. Oh. 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 Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh, that was so funny. Oh my god, that is so cute. She's written like 5 pages and she sent me some photos that she found. She also mentioned that she's kept all the pictures I drew for her, which I don't even remember doing, but I guess I used to draw her loads of pictures, and she sent one back to me because she thought I'd like to have it. But I'll show this one because it's got just me in it. That is me. I was 14. Look at me. I actually kept this jumper for ages. Me and my little side parting and my side fringe. Social media wasn't a thing at this point. This was just before social media popped off, really, and so you wouldn't really know how to pose for photos. You wouldn't know what looked good.
awkward. You wouldn't know how to make your face look nice or how to smile properly. Like, look how shy I was. I feel like my nose grew before the rest of my face because my nose looks huge here, but then I grew into my nose, I guess. This was also on the school trip and we were sneaking around because it was like the middle of the night and the teachers were on patrol, and so we were like awake but we weren't meant to be. And there's a girl behind me, but I won't show her. I think this outfit that I drew was based on stuff that I actually used to wear. I remember these like skull and crossbones bike shorts that I had, and I had this weird like green top with these funny sleeves. We would wear the craziest outfits at school.
I just called my grandma. I do speak to her about probably once every couple of weeks or so. I'm just like cherishing all the conversations and every time I get to speak to them and see them. Oh, grandparents are so sweet. I wish they could be around forever.
Cutest thing ever just happened. My neighbour, Percy's mum, just came and knocked on my door and invited me round to her house for coffee. So sweet. It's like, yeah, I was literally just working and I was like, yeah, let me just like grab some shoes. Just went round and we had a lovely little chat and I like learnt about her, some of her life and her family. Had a really nice coffee, saw Percy and her dog. You know, sometimes I really struggle to have the courage to do something like that because I'm such an avoidant person. I'm still working on this. Like, this is part of this series, is working on my avoidant tendencies. We actually had a really good chat. It wasn't awkward at all. Reminded me that you can just do that. Literally have free will. You can go to your neighbours and just knock on the door and see if they want a tea or a coffee. Okay, I've finally sat down this morning to get some dates in. Every time I've sat down to do this, I have just completely blanked, start picking up my hair, start disassociating. My mind goes to zilch. I just keep putting this off. It feels like such a monumentous task to try to fit in all of these things I want to do this summer because it's my last summer of my 20s. There's so much pressure. I now have a weekend job, so it's going to be tricky to take time off, but also I will just take the time off. I messaged my university group chat asking where they'd want to do a reunion over 2 weeks ago now, so I should really update. First, we need to ask my friend what days I can go and see her in Boston. Once she gives me the week that would be better, I've got to do the scary thing and go ahead and book the flights. Now we've done that, let's find some dates for the reunion. I've put a little poll on our group chat so people can vote which dates they can do. I have also made some progress on my travel plans to America this summer. So I've requested that week off work, and so hopefully I can book the tickets today. I'm currently looking up flights. I've found some for about $550, which is not bad. I'm scared because they don't often give refunds, do they?
1 week later.
I have held off for weeks on booking this flight because it's such an anxiety-inducing thing to do for some reason. And now because I've waited like an extra week, I'm pretty sure it's gone up by almost $100. I'm booking it today, right now. I've double checked it about 8 or 9 times now, so I think I can just go ahead and book it. I've booked my flights. I am officially going to Boston. I'm so excited.
For some reason, when I get a message or an Instagram DM from friends or family, I've developed the habit of I'll message them back later. Sometimes, yes, you really can't respond right that minute, but I have to admit, most of the time, I think it's a bit of anxiety mixed with just laziness and just the habit of doing it. Because for some reason, it's the idea of the energy that it will take to open the message and read it and respond that creates the resistance. In that split second of feeling that resistance, my brain decides that it would be easier and more comfortable to keep watching that video I was watching on Instagram or doing whatever I was doing around the house rather than to open the message and read it and respond. And when I really stopped to think about it, it actually made me feel quite sad. Somewhere, someone I love or a friend literally messaged me right now, right this minute, and I've seen it pop up on my phone. And for some reason, I don't prioritize that and I continue doing whatever I was doing, even though whatever I was doing is usually not as important as a friend or family reaching out to me or responding to something I've said to them. And it really made me take a good long look at myself and think, Isabella, why is this happening? I'm wanting these friendships and connections to deepen, and yet when they actually message me in real time, I see it pop up on my phone and I continue whatever I was doing and ignore it. And I'm like, what's going on? I need to prioritize the people in my life. So how am I breaking down this habit of I'll message back later? Quite simply, when I see the message and I feel that resistance, that urge to continue doing what I was doing and think I'll message back later, I catch that feeling, I catch that resistance, I push against it and through it. I open the message, I read it and respond. Not every single time, of course. I also don't think it's healthy to be constantly available to everyone and constantly replying to everyone as soon as they message you. You need your space and your you time. That's so important. Understanding the difference between maybe I actually don't have capacity and energy to respond right now and give that my attention, or am I just kind of going into a lazy habit? It's recognizing which one it is, and if it's the latter, just challenging myself to push through it. Even just doing this, say 1 out of 3 times, that is progress towards rewiring my brain. That is doing the work. I spoke about calling my friends in the last episode. I gave myself a goal of calling 1 friend a week. I was making headway, but if you've been watching my vlog series, you'll know that I fell off of this habit. It's inevitable to lose steam when you go into something guns blazing, so I do welcome the loss of momentum. I welcome losing steam because I really do think it's part of the process. I'm new to this, it's alien to me, it's scary to me, and also you might just need to make some adjustments. So I thought of maybe adjusting it to once every 2 weeks because it was quite overwhelming for me to go from never calling my friends to now calling someone once a week. Also, I think I possibly just need to get better organized and remember to actually schedule them into my calendar, into my to-do list, because that really helped me before. I also fell off the bandwagon with my fitness and meditation for a while. But as I said, again, part of the process, I think your real strength of character shines through when you're able to come back to it and pick yourself up. You're gonna fall off the horse. You just gotta get back on. But I think the real change and brain rewiring comes when you're actually able to push through when it gets hard. There's a book called The Dip by Seth Godin, I think. Seth Godin. This book is on my long list of books to read, but it basically explains how any personal or business journey, you'll usually start like this and then you'll inevitably get to a dip. Basically, the book explains about how pushing through that dip can be the difference between success and failure. Don't quit at the dip, basically. And also know when to quit at the dip, because sometimes something's just not quite right for you in terms of business or whatever. So I am embracing the loss of momentum, and I'm also working on pushing through when I feel resistance, because when you're able to actually push through, when you feel resistance to do something, that's when you're changing the way your brain works. You just got to keep coming back to it and keep going. I've put this peace lily here for the shot, but I recently learned they're actually really toxic to cats. So we usually keep the peace lily away from where the cats usually go. So thank you to the person that reminded me of that in the comments. It's so easy for humans to forget that they are part of nature. It's so easy to think that we are separate, but nature is genetically, biologically, spiritually, and literally part of us. Mother Earth is incredible. She feeds us, she nourishes us, she heals us, she provides medicine, she supports us and holds us, and she does it without expecting anything in return. She's the best mum ever. We have to have gratitude for everything she gives to us, respect her and love her back and nourish her back. It is the only sane thing to do. And if we don't, we can't survive here. It's not always easy to be green and environmentally friendly and eco-friendly in absolutely everything we do in our lives. There's always ways to do our part. But aside from that part of looking after the earth, there's another part of nourishing the earth, and that's building a relationship with her, spending time in nature, being with nature wholeheartedly. Plant people will understand, you know, touching the leaves, speaking to them. I know it sounds crazy and woo-woo, but I swear to you, they feel it and they hear you. There has also been studies done, the energy and the good thoughts and good words and good intentions that you put towards a plant or something alive thrives more so than things that you put negative energy towards. I'm going to try and and find that study and link it below. Acknowledge the trees, listen to the leaves rustling, stand on the ground with your feet, breathe in the air, listen to the birds, let her know that you're there and just be with her wholeheartedly. I know this sounds so hippy dippy doo-dah. I don't give a shit. This is just something that I really enjoy and actually nourishes me. And that's a type of relationship that's not with another human, but it is so incredibly profound when you really truly think about it. Having a connection to nature is having a connection with yourself as well, and with your spirit, and with the parts that you can't see, the energies that you can't see, the things that are unexplainable. There's scientific reasons to why things grow, of course, but there's also a lot that's not known and is just so beautifully mysterious, and it's just so wonderful to just exist and witness it. Also, I heard something beautiful on the radio the other day, that rivers around the world are being granted legal rights. They're being recognized as legal entities, similar to how human beings have rights. And this gives them the right to exist and to flow freely without pollution and exploitation and ownership, to have its biodiversity protected. This has all started from indigenous communities who know the land and who are helping these truths to be recognized. I'm also reading this incredible book called Braiding, Sweetgrass. I've known about this book for a while, but oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I'm not even halfway through, but it's actually made me cry a couple of times already. The way this woman writes about the earth and her connection to nature and what it means, the bigger picture, it stems from indigenous wisdom, scientific knowledge, and the teachings of plants. If you can build a relationship and a connection to nature, your soul will be nourished in the process. I've had a variety of mystical and quite profound experiences throughout my 20s that have kind of been paving the way towards a spiritual awakening. And last summer, I had an experience that blew the doors open. I have never been the same since. It turns out that our beautiful Mother Earth created a living organism in the plant world that is probably one of the most mysterious and magical of all. Fungi. There's a particular variant that perhaps nature created as a way for her to communicate with us. Stay with me here. Maybe it was a little doorway into her world to help us see, because when I ate this particular variant, I have never felt more connected to nature and the earth ever in my life. It became so unbelievably clear. Nature is always trying to communicate with us. She's part of us. I could speak for hours deciphering the realizations I had, and I fully intend to do that over on my Patreon soon. I'm still trying to make sense of my thoughts, gathering the realizations I had, and also trying to get some scientific evidence behind it as well, because it can be considered a little bit woo-woo, but it completely opened my mind and changed my life for the better. So I had all kinds of realizations, spiritual, just life in general, and particularly about nature as well. Let's stick to the nature route. To put it in the simplest way I possibly could, this is what I felt nature is trying to say to us. I am part of you, I am always here for you, and we need to work together. The Society of the Cats are conspiring. You'll probably already know by now that I wasn't exactly thrilled about moving here, and I had no family and friends nearby. So when our neighbour's cat Percy started coming round, I took it as a blessing. It felt almost as if an angel was coming round to check on me and keep me company. And if that is the case, I think something somewhere might have heard me, because they keep sending more. This is Hercules, our other neighbour's cat, who in fact was actually the first one that greeted me on move-in day. I was on my own, I was stressed out, I was apprehensive about moving here. And before I even got in the door, this white cat came straight up to me, nuzzled into me. It was the warmest, sweetest welcome. But then I rarely ever saw him again for the following 6 months. I even thought that he might have died because I didn't see him for such a long period of time. time after this one time that he came up to me on move-in day. But it turns out he's just very timid and he sometimes goes off on adventures. Just recently I've managed to befriend him, and now he often comes and sits with me in the mornings when I'm doing my meditation outside. It's the cutest thing. The first time I had my eyes closed and I was meditating, imagine my surprise when just like the fur just brushed past my leg alone in the garden, and then this cat just brushes past my leg while meditating. It was magical. He also comes in sometimes. He's very curious and sweet, and of course we have let the neighbors know and they're fine with it. And this is Max, another neighbor's cat from 2 doors down. He's like a teddy bear. He's chunky, fluffy, and so friendly. He always greets me on the street and occasionally comes in for strokes and affection if we open the door. Then there's this sweet little girl. I don't know her name, I don't know who owns her, but on my way into town I often see her and she always comes for a cuddle. She's incredibly trusting and affectionate. I usually spend quite some time with her, and when I get up to go, she usually protests and then follows me for a bit. Oh, she's just adorable. I do worry for her being around the roads, so I always tell her to keep safe, and I hope somehow she hears me. I feel so lucky to keep having these visitors. Cats have such a mysterious and magical energy, presence about them. That's probably why they've been associated with witches throughout history. They continuously bring joy to my life. I am so grateful and happy that they exist and that they just always seem to be around. Okay, so in the last episode, I was getting messed about by a job opportunity. Anyway, that went in the bin. I have made a few vlogs since then about finding a new job and my new job currently. So if you're not caught up, I started working at a restaurant on the weekends.
Hi, I'm currently at work. There is no one else here. It's just me cleaning glasses.
I have to admit that waitressing wasn't something that I wanted to go back into because in the past I found it to be extremely stressful, but it has been a good job. I have had some really hard days there. In my second and third week, I genuinely considered that maybe it just wasn't for me.
Wow, today was so hard, like so hard. I'm gonna go home now. I'm so tired. I need a bath and like just to sleep.
But I stuck to it, and to be fair, everyone there are such sweethearts. The managers are great, even the chefs are lovely, most of them. And I just love the camaraderie of it all, getting to chat with and get to know the other staff and colleagues. Also, the pay is pretty decent thanks to the service charge that they add on, thank goodness. So it's been good for me to get out of my bubble, get out of the house and be around people 100%, even though the job has led me to almost to tears a few times. And also, I find these kind of job roles are actually a really good opportunity to work on your charisma and people skills. I like to experiment with how I speak to and communicate with the customers. Sometimes I change my rhythm of how I'm talking, or I go in like a lower register or a higher register, or like a slower pace, the language I use, the energy I bring, and just see what works, what doesn't work, what I feel comfortable with, what gets the best result out of customers, how I greet them. If I really like what someone's wearing, I'll always compliment it. The other day I told these two friends that I really loved what they were wearing and that they looked so chic, and their reactions, they told me that I made their day, and that made me feel really good too. It's also providing some extra income so that I can have a little bit of savings and also try to enjoy the last summer of my 20s. I know I am trying to make as many plans as possible within my budget to ensure that I make some really good memories this year, and so far I am holding up to those plans. Although I'm trying to make the best of my current situation by making all of these changes and working on growth, I have an undeniable feeling that something is waiting just around the corner, but it's just out of reach. I feel strongly pulled to leave the UK, and the longer I wait, the more out of alignment I feel. And if you weren't aware, Lewis and I have plans to move abroad. I've been facing some personal internal crises and challenges that I've been keeping private because I've got to have a private life, so there are things I don't share. But what I can say is that Project Rewire is helping me focus on what I can control in the current moment, and it's helping me work towards a happier future, whatever that might look like, wherever that may be. I just know that that future isn't here. I feel so clear about it. But whatever happens, I'll be taking you along for the ride. If you liked the video, you know what to do. And you can join my newsletter if you want a little monthly sneak peek. If I've left you wanting more, you might enjoy this video next. Thank you for watching. Bye. Mwah.